Well, we meet again. With the holiday seasons coming up, I kind of wanted to talk about camera necessities. If you're an aspiring photographer or videographer who specifically kind of wants to get into the automotive scene, but just in general, maybe you're getting some cash from grandparents or, getting a gift for your kid or your significant other or something like that. This is going to be a good guide on basics that you need to at least get started. So we'll talk about those four things, which is going to be camera body, camera lens, SD card, and then for card photography, ND filters and polarizers. After that, I'll kind of show you some of the extra things that I personally use for car photography and videography. Let's dive right into it. The base of your equipment is going to be your camera body. So there's basically three different kinds of camera bodies, you could say. There's photo focused, hybrid, and then video focus. So this is my personal photo camera. I don't have a hybrid camera. I just have one set photo camera and one set video camera. This is a A7R III from Sony. These kinds of cameras are gonna have high pixel counts. So this is like 42 megapixels, but they don't necessarily handle video as well. So compared to even like an A7 IV, which is the non-R line, R stands for resolution in the Sony lineup. Even like an A7 IV will handle video better than this, just because the sensor is a little bit smaller. It has dual base ISO, which means that you can go up to, like, let's say 800 is the normal base. You can go up to a second base and have like 3200 or 12,800 and not have so much grain. Actually have no grain at all, basically, which is why it's called dual base ISO, because you basically are starting back at 0 grain, if that makes sense. Video cameras are gonna be more so like my FX3 that I'm shooting this on, an FX30, something like that, where really the sole focus is video. You're not going to be taking photos on that camera. So they're going to have very low sensor sizes. I think the FX3 is 12.1 megapixels, so a fourth of what this camera has. They'll be able to handle video codecs better. They'll be able to shoot higher bit quality, probably have better audio recording, just things that are video focused, if that makes sense. Personally, I would recommend a hybrid camera for your first camera, or if you're just wanting like an all-in-one kind of camera. If you're looking to downsize from 2 cameras to 1, some great options are the Canon EOS R5, which is right here. Another great option is the Sony A6400, which I'll put right here. If you're wanting to invest or splurge a little bit more, a Canon R6 Mark II or Sony A7 IV, like I was mentioning before, those might be some great cameras to invest into, where the bodies themselves are, $2 grand or so, but you can get them used for a whole lot cheaper, which is nice. Just keep in mind, like along that track, if you're just getting into photography, it may be better to buy used. See if you can buy something that's either open box or on Facebook Marketplace where they still have original packaging, because you may find that you don't like it. You do it for 6 months or something like that and you're like, this just isn't for me. Or, if you still want to keep it, at least you didn't just invest 4 grand into, photography equipment or whatever. So getting back onto the hybrid camera, the things you want to look for, I can give you as many suggestions as you like, but the things you want to look for are 4K 60, because no matter what, you want 4K, and being able to slow it down by half, from 60 frames per second to 30 frames per second is super helpful, because if you're doing video shoots for cars, sometimes you want that slow motion footage. Sometimes if I'm doing like an interior shot, there's not enough room genuinely for me to do that slow of a walk and have enough time. Like there may be like just a little spot. So being able to slow it down basically doubles the length of that clip. So I don't have to shoot so slowly, because when you shoot slowly, you get a lot more like micro movements in your hands. So it just helps for a smoother, cleaner shot, and it looks cool. So that always helps. If you do go the route with a cheaper camera, understand that you may not get 10-bit color or the nicest autofocus features or whatever it may be, but it'll kind of force you to put that extra step towards making your scene look nice, or making sure that you expose properly. So I don't think it's necessarily a big deal, but just bear that in mind whenever you're looking at buying a cheaper camera. Next up, let's talk lenses. This is my Sony G Master 16-35. Right now I'm shooting on a Sony G Master 24-70 Mark II. Lenses are just as important as the camera bodies themselves. I know a lot of people will buy like a super expensive camera body and then buy like a $300 lens, and I'm like, what's the point of buying the camera body if the lens is just gonna destroy the quality of the image? If there's just one lens to buy, I would really encourage you to get something between like the 20 to 70 range, something like that. So for me, this 24 to 70, if I could have one lens, it would literally just be this lens because it's so versatile. You can just use it in so many different ways. A lot of people are like, 35mm prime first lens, 50mm prime first lens. And they're cheap lenses, and that's why. But I promise you, especially if you're shooting cars, you need a wider lens. And you can find a 18 to 55 or something like that kit lens that will come with the camera body. It'll still be decent quality. It'll allow you to use that whole range. And then from there, you can figure out, okay, I don't really use anything above 50mm, so maybe I get a 50mm prime and then a 35 prime or a 24 prime or something like that. But at least you have the whole range to work with. A lot of people say, oh, get the 50 because then you're forced to make it look artistic. And that's true, but if you're in a really tight space, a 50 is useless no matter what you do. You know what I mean? It's just, you really need that wide range. So you don't necessarily need to get a first party lens. Third party lenses are great. I rocked Tamron for years. Sigma's great. Viltrox I've heard is really good. I haven't used them, but you can find those lenses for a whole lot cheaper than you can like a Sony G Master lens, for instance. The things you want to look for are low f-stop, because the lower you can drop your f-stop, the better your lighting will be if you're in low light conditions. So you can basically introduce more light the lower you go on your f-stop. And then if you can find a lens with in-body stabilization, that would be amazing, because when you're doing those handheld shots, or if you're doing rollers or something like that, having that little bit of extra stabilization comes in really clutch, really clutch. So highly encourage you to find a lens with those things in mind, if that makes sense. So you have your camera body, you have your camera lens. The next thing you need is a circular polarizer and or ND filter. Personally, I don't think an ND filter is necessary until you really start doing a lot of videography. I shot photos for 3 or 4 years without even having an ND filter, and videos for about a year without an ND filter. But you really do need an ND filter for videography because it allows you to adjust your brightness without having to change your shutter speed, which you want to adhere to the 180-degree rule, which means if you're shooting at 30 frames per second, you need to be at 1/60. Or if you're shooting at 60 frames per second, you need to be at 1/120. If you're just gonna be shooting photos, just get a polarizer. A lot of the lenses or like kits that come with lenses and bodies together will come with a polarizer, but if not, you can go onto Amazon and find a Tiffin polarizer for 20 bucks or something like that. They're pretty cheap, so highly recommend it. Basically, the polarizer will cut reflections from a car. So for instance, I'll just show you right here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my polarizer and try not to get my hand in it. But you can see how the light changes on the car. If you see the pink in the bottom right corner, you see that? So you can see it doesn't really affect anything else except the reflections. So if you're shooting a car like the Supra right here, just keep in mind that you will have reflections on the car. It'll help enrich the paint color so that the paint doesn't have any reflections and you get the true color from it, so you're not getting any like washing out on the paint. And sometimes it can actually even bring back a washed out sky. Super integral for shooting cars. I would just recommend having one no matter what, but just keep in mind that sometimes it can cause like a rainbowing effect in headlights. If the car has PPF on it, I found that sometimes you get this weird like polarizing effect in the paint, similar to if you put sunglasses on and a car has PPF, you can see like where the PPF was stretched and everything. The same thing will happen with a polarizer. So just bear that in mind. You may have to work with lighting a little bit and introduce some artificial lighting if you're working with a car that has like really badly stretched PPF. So I think that's really it for filters. The last thing you'll need is an SD card. Usually a 32 gigabyte or 64 gigabyte card will suffice, but I would really encourage you to upgrade SD cards as soon as you can. Really the thing to look for in SD cards is gonna be the speed on them. So you wanna find an SD card that has probably 200 to 300 megabit per second download and upload speeds. Basically those speeds will determine how fast, when you take a photo, it downloads to the camera. And then also when you're taking it from the SD card to a computer, how fast those will download. I highly recommend it. If you're doing videos, you know you need a V90 card, which is basically like the class rating for them, but you will need a V90 card. So if you are shooting, just bear that in mind. I really think that's it. Those are the 4 main things you need. Like if you have those 4 things, you can go out and shoot right now. You need an editing software, of course, but that's not really camera related. I would recommend Lightroom for photo editing. and DaVinci Resolve for video editing. Before we get into the extras that I personally use for my photos and videos, I'm gonna pop up right now on screen a kit from Amazon that's under $1,000. It is a ZVE-10 Sony, and it shoots 4K 30. It has a 24 megapixel sensor, and it comes with a 16 to 55 millimeter kit lens, which is basically like that perfect range that you want. It also has a carrying bag, so you don't have to buy an extra bag. It has an SD card, which is good. The Extreme Pros are actually really good in SD cards. And then it does have the Polarizer Indie filter set. I don't know how good the quality of these Indie filters and polarizers are, but you could probably get away with just buying like a couple Tiffins if they're not doing the job for you. I'll have that linked down below as well, and I may just link my Amazon storefront where I have like hybrid camera setup or video setup or something like that. So you guys can go and look through and see what's in your budget, what interests you the most. So let's get into some extras that I carry with me if you have a little bit of extra money to spend. Let's start with extra batteries. So I always carry 4 to 5 batteries with me on shoots. Thankfully, my photo camera and my video camera both take the same kind of battery, but having extra batteries is really helpful when you have multi-day shoots or you're shooting 5 hours or something like that. These Sony batteries do not last that long. So if you have some money to splurge on it, buy some extra batteries. If you're a beginner photographer, I would really recommend a tripod. It'll help you when the light is getting a little bit low to bump down that shutter speed and not have to worry about having super steady hands. And most beginner cameras aren't gonna have in-body stabilization, so having a tripod is really essential to making sure that you capture the shots that you need. Camera straps are not something that I personally use, but I have found them helpful in the past on if I have longer shoots or if I'm gonna be carrying the camera around in like a public space and I need to free up my hands. Being able to just put the camera strap around my neck or around my wrist and make sure that that camera doesn't get stolen or something like that is really, really, really important. So if you're gonna be doing like a lot of street photography and stuff like that, I would highly recommend bringing a camera strap. Last thing is cleaning equipment. Have microfiber cloths, sensor cleaners, some air sprayers, get all the dust off the sensor or the front of the lens or whatever. There's other things that you can bring, but those are really the main essentials for me. That's pretty much it as far as accessories go for shooting. I don't think you need that much to get into it. I obviously carry like gimbals, drones, mics, lighting, everything when I go to shoots with me. So if you guys want to see like a what's in the bag video going into 2026, I will happily film one and kind of explain the reasons why I have everything behind it. Obviously some stuff is self-explanatory, but just little things that go into it and maybe take you guys along on a shoot where I kind of use each of those things. So let me know if that's something fun to you. I hope this was insightful for newer photographers or maybe someone who's looking to buy something for their significant other or their kid or whatever. There are much cheaper options than $1,000. You can buy like a Canon EOS Rebel T7 or something like that for 500 bucks and get started like that if you're just wanting to try it. But I really recommend investing in equipment if this is something you really want to do, because eventually you're going to upgrade. So you might as well save yourself the hassle while you can. One thing I want to mention before we end this video is don't feel like you need to do both photography and videography. I feel like social media has forced a lot of creators to do both, when in reality a lot of creators just want to be one or the other. And I want to encourage you to just be one or the other. If you want to be a photographer, do photos. If you want to be a videographer, just do videos. And I did photos for 3 years before I even touched a video. Here we are, you know, 6 years later. I'm still a photographer at heart, and I think photos will always be my number one, because even if all the electronics go away, I can still put a photo on my wall, still have that moment captured. So I think photos are what will live forever. There's something special about that. But hey, that's just me. So I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.